All right, everybody. You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam! Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. Welcome all those of you who are watching us, especially those who are watching us on the replay or on the archive. We appreciate you for tuning in and joining us, taking time out of your schedule, whatever time of day or evening it is, to join us here on the show. And so we thank you, and thank you. And we also thank those of you who are watching live on various platforms, YouTube Live, Facebook, Twitter, TV, whichever you are watching us, however you're watching us, we say again, thank you for tuning in to the broadcast. Well, weather-wise, we had a little break from the cold. Weather has been good in Atlanta metro area. I don't know how it is for you in other areas, but all around the east, after having a tornado or hurricane scare, we have found ourselves in a situation where we have warm temperatures. Where today, I believe we were sort of over 60 degrees. So good stuff. If you were like me, a person that likes the warmer weather now, appreciative of that. Also appreciative of the fact that it was my birthday this past weekend. I was born on January the 15th, 1959. That's right, born in the 50s. So as it was succinctly said, you getting old. But we do thank the Lord that we're able to do this, and we thank the Lord for another birthday, number 64. And we thank God for that. We also thank God for being able to have one of the most beautiful women in the way of sports talk, radio, or TV. We know her simply as the Queen, Miss Trae Dolman. Welcome back to the show.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. And yes, I see you were telling everybody. I was going to tell everybody that it was your birthday weekend. So happy birthday, Jonathan! From all of us at Real Talk Sports. Now, I apologize because originally my plan was to make you this wonderful video, and I still may do it. And it just takes me a really long time when I make my videos. And I had a really, really busy few days getting another certification as actually, I don't think you guys know because I don't tell anybody, but I'm a life insurance agent and I help people with life insurance and annuities and long-term care. And I've been taking a class for another one of my certifications. You know, you have to do the continuing education. And so I've just been in the computer. So I apologize. I wanted to make you a video. And like I said, I still probably will do it. And yeah, happy birthday. So how was your birthday? What did you do for your birthday?
My birthday was surprisingly uneventful. Yeah, we kept it kind of close to the vest because it was a little chillier than I expected. So I just didn't have the excitement about going out because normally I like to kind of hit, Atlantic Station and go out and let the sun hit me. But the sun would hit me, but I still was kind of chilly and frozen. So I stayed a lot of my time just kind of hanging out and taking it easy. And then I found out something. I found out that for those of you who don't know, a while back I had a couple operations that involved my digestive tract, and they told me at that time when I was recovering that hey, you have to learn how to eat more smaller meals, and certain things you either can't eat at all, you have to eat in smaller portions. And I will tell you, for these last 5 years, I've been very diligent about doing that. But I said it's my birthday. Let me just go ahead and eat what I want to eat. It tasted really good going down. But hours later, my system said, Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. So that was kind of slowed me down as well. But nevertheless, again, I am very, very thankful and pleased that I've now reached birthday number 64. Still in pretty good shape. Feel pretty good. And so I thank the Lord for that. The other stuff is bonus. And for the first time, I think about 8 years, I did not actually work on my birthday. Yeah, actually, it was a Sunday, so we were off. But other than that, yeah, just fantastic, fantastic. So thank you, Tree, for the well wishes. I don't care about the video. It's okay to see your smiling face and the excitement of the happy birthday. I'm good. Right, right. You can take your time. I know editing videos are just. I have to do it myself from time to time. It's a bear, so I'm not mad at you at all. Not mad at all. Well, another great weekend of sports. A lot of stuff going on. Hawks played a huge slate of NFL football playoffs. Now we're down to the Final Four on both the AFC and the NFC, and we'll talk about that later on in the broadcast. It is also, we're going to take a look at some teams in the NFL, kind of see who did what. There's going to be a question about Lamar Jackson. Is he going to return to the Ravens? People already around Atlanta like, we should get him. So we're going to see what's going to happen with him. We'll talk about that later on in the broadcast as well. And we'll talk about our Atlanta Hawks, winners of 3 consecutive games. We'll talk about them. And then, of course, we will talk briefly about the unfortunate passing of the University of Georgia football player and I think she is a recruiting assistant as well. And also keep in mind that there were 2 other people that were also severely injured in that crash. So, again, our hearts and prayers are with them as well. But, yep, as usual, just sports, more sports and more sports. Now, did you kind of like sit down and just say, I'm not going anywhere, hit my couch here, sparkle, and I'm just going to watch all the games?
Yeah, and it was a lot of things to watch. That is for certain.
Oh yeah, it was capacity, crowd packed everywhere. That's it. I do want to ask you a question. It has been the headlines are out there that Maya, I was forgetting last time. Anyway, great WNBA star is retiring. So I know that that's kind of your bailiwick, something you've always been excited about. So your thoughts about the retirement of one of the great WNBA players of all time?
Whenever someone retires, I think it's definitely a special moment. She's done so much for the game of basketball and just even her as a person with her personality and her heart, her drive. Yes, we always love the accolades that she has on the court, but I also think it's what she does off the court that just makes it even such a more memorable experience and makes her even more memorable in the WNBA. So hearing that she's retiring, it's always a big point in someone's life. A lot of these players have so many other things going on outside of basketball, and I just wish her the very best in life. And hopefully she'll find some way to stay involved in the game. I think that the game is definitely better having her a part of it. But whatever she decides to do, I know that it will be phenomenal.
Yeah, no doubt. Maya Moore, a true living legend, superstar at the University of Connecticut, and later went on in WNBA and starred there as well. A lot of people also remember her for her activism outside of basketball. Was involved in several things going on. Black Lives Matters. An individual who later she ended up marrying was wrongfully imprisoned. So a lot of stuff that she has been very vocal on, and has been, like you said, like the landmark of a lot of great things going on. But Maya Moore, 4-time WNBA champion, I believe a 3 or 4-time champion, NCAA champion with UConn, including an undefeated season with them. She has retired, and we're going to hopefully, like you said, she will stay involved in the game in some way. I think she will. I would not be surprised to maybe take a little break in the action and come on back and get more involved in the sport. As we get involved, guys, anytime we do this show, not only do we bring in the lovely Miss Tree Dolman, but we also bring on a champion. He's not a 1, but 2-time Super Bowl champion. He is also a member of the Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame, and just all around good guy. Number 38, Tyrone Poole, is in the building. What's going on, sir?
Hello, everyone. How you doing? Hello, Tree. Hello, Jonathan. Everybody watching and listening. I hope everybody doing well.
Praise the Lord, doing well. He is representing the ATL. Has the dark blue hat. Those are like Tennessee Titans colors too. Got the blue and the dark blue. You represent the Titans too, brother? I mean, I see the Titan helmet in the background.
No, that's just what you see. No, just wearing a shirt and wearing a hat. But I hear you though. No, just wearing a shirt. Just happen to have his shirt on.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm a collector of hats, and people often ask me, "Hey, what do you like this team or that team?" I said, "No, I just like collecting hats." They got a lot of different teams. They even got some stuff that teams that are no longer with us. They've changed their names, but we still have the hats and stuff. Well, I was mentioning to Tree earlier, Tyrone, about the retirement of Maya Moore, the great basketball legend. Any comments on her retirement? And not only that, but the difficulty of retiring when you're an athlete, and especially if you played at a high level.
Actually, I haven't retired. I'm still moving, so I don't know what retirement actually means. But I get it. You're not doing the sport that you have done for so long, but I have not retired. So actually, I've gotten even busier. But I get it. What you're trying to say. You've done something for so long, and then you have to transition. But I don't think you ever retire. I'm pretty sure there's some work that she has to accomplish, and you can never separate yourself from your work. Your job. Yeah, you retire from your job, but your work is in your job. So that's why I said that I have not retired, because my work is always going to be in me. So I never retire, but the actual sport that I played, that's a skill that I was taught. So I'm moving on. So that's not who I was, but my work, I look forward to that every day. So I'm working every day, man, always trying to make things happen.
Yeah, I guess that's true, especially and you're talking about any job or anything that you do that you're able to kind of transition from that at a young age. Yeah, I mean, you can't just lay around and look at paintings and go to the art museum. Q1. Plus, I'm sure there's things like you mentioned. There are things, life goals, and things that you want to accomplish. And Tree mentioned that outside of the WNBA, outside of basketball, even because she really did transcend the sport and all the things she was doing in civil rights and things like that. So, she's done quite a bit. Like I said, involved in Black Lives Matter, involved in getting her husband freed from being wrongfully jailed, and
Yeah,
literally
that
took
was just beautiful.
right. I think she took at least one season off, might have been two, right? In the middle of her career. So
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
I said I believe she took at least one season off, possibly a little bit more than that, to pursue trying to get him,
She did.
free.
Yes.
Yep. So you talk about putting your money where your mouth is and being all in for something like you mentioned, Tyrone, beyond the world of sports. Well, there it was right there. We saw it live and in person. So again, kudos to her. Well, the other thing that happened during these past few days, unfortunately, a little bit more serious. We had a situation where two young people lost their lives in a tragic accident after the University of Georgia had won the national title. A player and a recruiting assistant lost their lives in a terrible accident, one car accident, and also a survivor, two survivors, another player and another graduate assistant, also, still in the hospital. So certainly our condolences to the parents, to the Dog Nation, and we hope for a speedy recovery for the two young people involved as well.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. It's a whole lot of questions. First and foremost, you don't ever like to see anyone lose their life. Unfortunate situation, young people. I have a daughter and son, so parents, it's heartbreaking. So condolences to the family. But it's still gonna be some big questions that are gonna come out of this thing that people really, they're kind of laying low because of the tragedy and the magnitude of what happened to these young people. But still got to be some questions got to be answered. Why were they out at 2:30, a.m. and then the two people that actually survived? I'm pretty sure they're gonna get poked with a whole lot of questions by those investigators about what's going on. Of course, it happened in UGA in that territory, so they're gonna try to keep a lid on it as much as possible. But I'm pretty sure, like I say, first and foremost, condolences go out to the family. But there's a whole lot of questions that people need answers to that hopefully can save lives in the future. But still, there's some tough questions that are gonna be asked that need some answers.
Yeah, unfortunately, no doubt about it. There are going to be some questions about, again, the timing of being out. Um, and you just there's a lot of speculation, and fortunately, right now, at least for the parents' sake and for their friends' sake, we really haven't had a deep dive. But there is no question that as the investigation go on, those questions are going to be asked. Kind of what happened, what was going on, And of course, the question of being, hey, where were you guys going at that late area? And as you know, Tyrone, anywhere around those areas where you're near a campus, especially like there in Athens, I mean, I can tell you this from driving around near me. I mean, those roads are dark. A lot of times they have no lights, so all it takes is a miscalculation. We don't know again whether an animal jumped in front of them, but the bottom line is that you're right. Unfortunately, there's going to be some continued investigation and sadly some speculation that I think kind of go on. So, prayers are with the family and with friends that just was one of those tragic things. But one thing is not tragic, guys. We're gonna have to take a little break here in the action. Again, guys, you're listening to Real Talk Sports Show, and don't go anywhere because we'll be back in just a moment. So hang tight. We'll be back.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
We're going to do some audio rebooting here. I'm going to take a quick reboot here. I think I might have a little problem with my microphone. So I'm going to let you two guys here kind of hold it down for just a second as I do a reboot to make sure that we are all clear with the mic.
Okay, I thought he was going to give us a topic to discuss. So I guess we can go ahead and talk about one of the topics. Which one do you want to talk about?
You go ahead and lead it, Trae. I follow your lead. You go ahead and be like on Sports Center and all these talk shows. I'm gonna let you be the lead. You go ahead and take the baton and run with it. I'll follow your lead.
All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Have you been watching any of their games?
I've been keeping up with them, so yeah, I've been watching a little bit of the Atlanta Hawks.
Do you think that they will make the playoffs, or do you think that they will possibly be in a play-in for the playoffs?
What spot are they currently holding now? What is it, 9?
I believe the last time I checked, they were number 9.
How many teams go to the NBA playoffs?
8.
Yep. So with that being said, season kind of like halfway, they still have a strong opportunity to move up beyond 8. So where they are right now, based off of their record, the spot that they're sitting in, and the number of games that are left, they could hit a streak at any point and move tremendously high up in the rankings. So to answer your question, yes, I think they could possibly still make the playoffs.
Great. And I just double checked, and yes, I'm correct. They are at 9 currently. And they're actually have the same record as the Pacers. So we could actually go past them and a couple other teams. So yes, I think I agree with you. I think that they definitely can make the playoffs. And I think that they will. I think it's really important for the teams to really start gelling right after NBA All-Star break. That's a big point in the season for the NBA. You get a lot of trades that are made. So you bring in new energy, or sometimes you let energy out of the building that people don't think is right for the team and not a good fit. Problems going on in the locker room. We know that we're hearing about different trade opportunities or possibilities with Trae Young or John Collins. So who knows what the Atlanta Hawks will do. But I think with where they are now, and if they can just stay on this pace, and then after NBA All-Star break, really start gelling with whatever new pieces, if there's any new pieces, but figuring that out and then making a big run at the end of the season and going forward, I think that they definitely will go to the playoffs. And I don't even know that we'll see them in a play-in tournament this year.
Well, I do know this myself, being on a professional level, you can't go to the playoffs if you don't have a star player. So if they do anything by trading their top guys or getting rid of their top guys, then as a fan of the Hawks, I'll be very disappointed because anybody knows you don't get rid of your star players. You don't get rid of guys who give yourself an opportunity to win. You do not get rid of those guys, okay? So if that were to happen, I would actually, as a fan, would question management. What are you actually doing? You know, that's the same blueprint that the Hawks have followed year in and year out. Joe Johnson, Joe Johnson. What about him? So again, just look down the list of players that have left the Hawks organization. And my question would be, if you're trying to win, why are you getting rid of the guys who are quote unquote superstars? So again, that's just my take on it. But if you try to get into the playoff, like the question you alluded to in the beginning, if they trade Trae Young or they get rid of Clint, then no. They're going to bottom out. And if I'm a fan, I wouldn't even show up to the games.
If they get rid of Trae Young, I think that will be horrible for the Atlanta Hawks and also horrible for the fans. We know that the Atlanta Hawks, they pretty much sell out mostly every game here. And if Trae Young is no longer on the team, I just don't see that happening. I think DeJounte is an excellent player. He's phenomenal. Excellent talent. I think he was a great addition to bring into the team, but he's not Trae Young. And Trae Young is the face of the Atlanta Hawks. And if he's not happy, they need to meet with him, decide what they can do to make him happy. But trading him and getting him to leave is definitely not the answer. Because like you said, you can't even vie for a championship if you don't have great star players. We have to have those. And when we have them, we can't let them leave and walk out of the door. We have to do what we need to do to keep them happy and let them stay.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Again, you look at any team that has won a championship in the NBA, you got to have the big three. You got to have the big three. And your next two players have to be almost considerate to be a big five. You almost got to have a big five, but you definitely got to have the big three. You got to have that guy who can shoot the ball from anywhere. You got to have that guy who is that power guy that you can just put him anywhere on the floor. And then you just got to have a guy that is the one that is the glue to the team, the one that everybody just gels around. I just don't see how you could get rid of Trae or even bring Clint or their names up. Okay. Again, it made me start thinking about the Detroit Lions, the Ford family. Are you really trying to win? Or what's your purpose? The NBA finals every season should be the goal. Okay. If you want to say it's contract, salary cap, reasons. Well, you know what? You knew all of that a long time ago. Okay, so you should have planned for that. You should have structured the contracts with the mindset that we want to keep these guys around here for as long as we can. Okay, hopefully many, many years. So again, I just don't know. I've been a part of organizations. I know we talk about basketball, but sports are sports. Okay, I've been around organizations. I've seen an organization built from the ground up, and in our second season, we're one game away from the Super Bowl. I get traded to another team. We draft a quarterback from Tennessee, Vols. We start out 3-13 that year and turn it around and go 13-3. I've been a part of a championship organization where we won back-to-back and won a lot of championships. So I've seen and I know what ownership really looks like when they're trying to win. So I didn't see the Patriots getting rid of guys that were key components. If anything, you bringing in guys to help complement them so you can win. So again, I don't know. I'm just talking. Who knows?
Yeah, it's been a lot of there's been a little disgruntled. Some of it is because what happens is the team at times have played just as well without Trae as with him. Also, they seem to be having some problems consistently moving the ball around. I will say these last three games, they're more like what we saw the first three games of the season. It looks like their offense is starting to mess up, like their teamwork and chemistry was there. And the interesting thing is that DeJounte has definitely had an impact because they talked about Trae's defense improving from where it is over the last couple of years, including him making some big steals down the stretch in these games. So there's no doubt that whatever was wrong with the team, if they can find a way to sustain, and that's what they also talked about, was can we be consistent and play the kind of ball that we played the last 3 games? I think, in fact, that we would be able to do some stuff here. Let's see here. Todd is saying, can we get a GoFundMe and set the preacher up with some decent internet? Yeah, my internet's fine. I mean, I'm not sure
He
what
said some decent what?
internet. I guess he said my internet is bad. I'm not sure. And he said Trae doesn't want to be here. Well, it's like this. I mean, it's all about winning. You know, these guys win. Everybody, all those problems go away. But
and that's the point right there. And I'll go back, I'll jaywalk and bring up another example, okay, of something a statement you made. You said that they play better when Trae's not in the lineup, okay? And I'm a person, I always like to try to flip the script. Take the principle, but move it into another box so you can kind of see the principle for what it is, okay? All right. So when you said that, I thought about you, Jonathan. Okay. All right. You sell cars, right? So if I really want to get rid of you, all right, then anytime it was your time to work on that job or whatever, I would pretty much make it, if I could, tough for you to sell a car. And then when you had your days off, I would actually work as hard as I could to make sure that everybody had what they needed so that we could sell cars. Then I can say the same statement. You know what? Why do we need Jonathan around here? We sell more cars when he's not around here. Yes, that's facts, but the truth is, what's really the truth? What's really the truth? Okay? We throw out a lot of facts, but what's the truth? Okay? That's what I like to find out. What's the truth? Because I do believe if everybody want to win, I know Trae wants to win. If the Hawks say they want to win, okay, why can't you get along? It's something else in there. It's something else in there. Sometimes as players, owners, coaches, they don't tell the reporters, they don't tell you guys everything. We don't tell you guys everything. We tell you guys what we want y'all to hear. Okay? We don't tell y'all nothing. Then y'all take it, run with it. But at the end of the day, the reason why I left that team was because me and the coach, whatever, we got into it. But the organization, we try to smother. We try to keep it smothered so it don't get out there, because that's going to affect the organization in the long run. Okay? So again, I just think if they all want to win, it's not hard to get along when you're trying to win. And like you said, now bring it back to the present. When you win, everybody gets along, man. Now, what you do after you leave the court, that's on you. But when we're together, we have fun. So that's what it's all about. So I think it's totally something great that's in the mix that really they don't want to talk about, don't want the public know about.
Yeah,
I really think it's something going on with Trae and Coach Nate.
Yeah, Todd said Trae doesn't want to be here. So they bought that $20 million home out in LA, and his heart is out there.
Let's get Todd. See again, Todd. I don't know, and I'll just be straight up with you, Todd. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do in life, buddy. But I can say this: have you ever played sports? And if you have, I would like to know how you played it, were you out there on the field starting, how high you went in sports, because it's easy, Todd, to sit from the sideline and be a couch potato and actually say what you think. Okay, anybody's a player. Okay, I can sit here and say as a player, I never want to leave none of the teams that I left. Because you put roots there. Nobody want to go nowhere. Just ask yourself that, Todd. Would you want to go bouncing, or would you want to stay put? So that statement you just made, Todd, that's an emotional statement, all right? But a player, no, man, we don't want to leave. We want to stay right there and raise our families, grow a family, meet a family, and establish our kids in that community. That's what life is all about. So, but I understand, Todd, where you're coming from. You come from a fan standpoint. So that's why I asked if you've ever played in the sports at a high level, if you started, what's your background? Because if you actually play somewhere where you love being and you enjoy the sport, you know what? You want to raise your family there. And I don't know if what relationship with Trae, who he dated or whatever, but at the end of the day, don't nobody want to go from place to place, bounce from place to place. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I knew you played tennis in college, but I do want to say, to his point, I know football and NBA is a little different. Some of my friends that played in the NBA, they actually asked to be traded. One of my friends, he asked to be traded. I want to say, I think it was like 4 or 5 times from 4 or 5 different teams. And that really just blew my mind because it was like, oh, this was many, many years ago. And I thought when players got traded, it was typically the team. And I didn't realize that a lot of times trades happen because the player wants to leave that team. So I know in the NBA, it does happen a lot where the actual player requests the trade and they want to go to another team.
Why? Don't nobody, I hear what you're saying, Trae,
Right.
but nobody wake up and say, oh, you know what? I'm tired of being here. No, man, I don't care.
Yeah, like you say, it's always a reason, the why. Yeah.
Yeah, don't nobody, why? What's the why? Why do you want to leave? Why do people want to get out of their marriages? Why? Don't nobody wake up and say, oh, you know what? I love you. You know what? I want to get out of this. Something happens.
Yeah.
So why do players want to be traded? So whether it's NBA, NFL, baseball, those guys love those sports. They grew up playing that sport. And then you get paid to do something that you love? Come on now. But what's the why? It's always a why. That's what you find out. Don't nobody just wake up and say, I want to leave.
Yeah, that's true. There is always a why.
Well, some of it clearly is a disconnect between, I think, what the coach wants to do and what the players want to do. I think there's a problem there. And I think that sometimes everybody talks about when this team seems to get under some pressure, they default back to, some people call it hero ball. Some people call it, kind of over ball handling. But this team operates at its best. And when they play the way they played in the first half against Miami, where they put up an astonishing 70 points. And the reason why is, first of all, they shot very well. And Trae and DeJounte both talked about it being a make-miss league, which to me, maybe because I never played, but to me, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, what's that all about? I heard the former coach Lloyd talk about make-miss league in the NBA. And we get it, man. I mean, yeah, if you miss a lot of your shots, you're not going to win. If you make or you get hot, most likely you are going to win. But I also know that the great teams find a way to win, whether they're having a hot night shooting or not. They find other ways to win. They ratchet it up defensively. They get turnovers. If they're an outside shooting team, they work the ball inside more. It's this idea about just being a make-miss league or teams go on runs. I get that, but the great teams find a way to circumvent that and to combat that to pick up the win. So, again, I listen to what the guys are saying. Again, have I played at that level? I haven't. But again, the big difference between the Hawks team winning the last 3 games is they've done the things that winning teams do, and they were doing the things that exciting teams do. The 50-50 balls that the Hawks were notorious for not getting. I saw a lot more of that. I actually saw Trae take it upon himself as being one of the leaders of the team to, as he even talked about, he had a big grin on his face. One of us asked about the idea of him playing more defense, even though he turned the ball over quite a bit against Miami. And he had a big grin. He said, oh, you guys noticed that. And DeJounte said, we're asking Trae now, hey, man, we know you're great offensively, but we want you to have that same energy defensively. So that was number one. Number two, to see a guy like Trae, a smaller guy, on the floor, diving for loose balls. Matter of fact, there was a couple little near scuffles. Why? Because he was aggressively going after balls. John Collins was doing the same thing. Actually made a great save where he was on the floor and caught a loose rebound and made a play. So that's the difference I've seen in the last 3 games. They've been hustling more. They've been doing the things, the extra energy plays that you need to get you over the hump when you're not playing well, when it's like both teams are shooting pretty good or both teams are not shooting bad. It's those other plays that get you to the victory. Like I said, going the extra mile and the box out on the rebound, that extra tip, the diving for the loose balls. And that's what I've seen the last 3 games that the Hawks have not been doing the games before that. So for me, it's a lot of it has been increased energy and also moving the ball around offensively. They're at their best when they're moving the ball around. When Trae or even DeJounte get back there and dribble, and burn up 10 or 15 seconds of the shot clock before they pass the ball, which is what they did when they lost a 24-point lead yesterday. That, to me, is the key. Nate has to find a way to call a timeout and say, gentlemen, let's keep it moving. Pace and space, keep it moving. So, to me, a lot of it is coaching.
I think the greatest thing that when you do have an opportunity to play for different organizations, you get an opportunity not only to see different teams' experiences, but you also get to see the principles of what winning culture is. And if I could, and I don't know how you guys do it in the media, Jonathan, if you guys can like cover more than one team. But I think sometimes you get caught up in one organization, that's all you know. Versus if you cover other organizations, then you can kind of like match the principles. Okay. So I go back, I say, we say like Trae leaving. Okay. Say the San Antonio Spurs. Back when they had that great run with Tim Duncan them. How come nobody was trying to leave, arguing about I want to leave the San Antonio Spurs? I want to leave, or the Golden State Warriors. Ain't nobody saying I want to leave. I want to, I want to come there. I want to come there. So again, I think it's a culture. I think, somewhere or another, something is not being communicated. When they pour that oil at the top, it does not test the same at the bottom. But if you go to organizations that win, you test it at the top, it's going to be the same when you test it at the bottom. So, again, like I said, I don't know how. I wish that everybody could go and just spend time with, if you're an NBA fan, they should have it. This is what the NBA should do. They should pick a fan and let them, and the NBA should just pay for them to just go and sit around in their practices, in the meeting rooms and everything, so they can see the culture of white swap. They should do fan swap. Fan swap and just let you go from team to team, or reporter swap. Let me cover your team, you cover my team. And I bet you'll find this is what we're not doing here. This is the principle that I saw on every team that's a winner. And this is what we need. I'm telling you, man, it ain't hard. It ain't hard. It's just, people just got to learn to understand their roles and go with it. You're not as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are. Find your balance, man, and just win, baby, like Al Davis would say, just win.
Oh, yeah, and I think to some degree, media does get a chance to, you're not in the locker room necessarily all the time, but you do get a chance to cover these teams when they come in. You can go in the locker room, you can ask questions. And if you really want to, as your brand expands, you can certainly go and cover teams at home. You can go, certainly Miami, if I say, hey, look, you know what, I have blocked out some time, I want to go ahead and cover the Heat. Yeah, you can apply for a credential and go cover them. The realities is that I think we're all trying to say the same thing. You have to, there's a certain way, there's a certain culture around winning. And the great teams, I don't care what era they played in, 70s, 80s, 90s, they all had that winning mentality, that winning attitude. And they also found a way, which is very interesting, even when there was turmoil outside of the court. I go back to, I guess because I'm old, I go back to the great baseball teams of the 70s. I look at the Big Red Machine. I look at the Yankees when they had Reggie Jackson. I look at the Oakland A's when they had Reggie Jackson. A lot of those guys hated Reggie. They didn't like him. Okay? There was squabbles about ego on the Reds. A lot of people didn't like Johnny Bench. They thought his ego was too big. Joe Morgan, all those guys, they at times clashed. But what they did was as soon as they walked on the court, as soon as they walked on a baseball field, they had one common goal. We want to win a championship. And we know that the guys that we have here, whether I like him, whether I like his wife, whether all that kind of stuff, they didn't care. They said, when we get on the field, we're all trying to accomplish the same thing. And that's why those guys were able to win multiple championships. Even like you said, it wasn't all kumbaya all the time. And I think that's some of the problem that you get today. Guys are thinking that, hey, it's always going to be kumbaya. You always can work on a job where you can go after your passion. Hey, man, sometimes it don't work that way. Sometimes it's just a straight out grind, because you have to you have to use that grind to get to your goal. And sometimes it ain't fun. And I think there's some, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I don't think guys think that it's supposed to be kumbaya all the time. All of us athletes have definitely, for those of us who've been playing since we were younger up until adult years, have definitely had teammates that we did not like or get along with. And that you have to do what you need to do for the win, because the win is the goal and what matters. So I'm not sure that I think that they think it's supposed to be kumbaya. I don't think that's the problem.
Well, and I guess, again, because of my age, and even Coach Nate talked about this, and I think that's one of the challenges that he has communicating with his team. He says, hey, these guys they're more sensitive. Because you think about it, Tyrone, think about what you said earlier. You said, hey, if you're winning championships, why would you leave? Golden State. Who asked to leave? KD said, I'm out of here.
Now, if KD stayed in that Golden State team, it's conceivable they could have won probably 2 or 3 more championships with him. But he wasn't feeling a certain way. He didn't feel he was, I guess, really respected. We know that Draymond Green made some comments and statements that made him feel uncomfortable, feel unwanted. He packed up his kit bag and left. And that's what Nate was saying. He's just like, he said, I can't approach the modern day athlete in the same way because they are more sensitive. We look around social media, people have all kind of beefs over somebody saying something. No one can take anything. You can't say anything to anybody. You can't criticize anyone today. So to me, again, some of this could be speaking from a guy that's an old guy, but that's what it seems like that some players, I'm not trying to say this is the case with Trae. I'm just saying that sometimes some of that energy gathered to worried about, hey, is everything kind of smooth and like, am I having fun? Sometimes life ain't fun. It's just what it is. I mean, there's a grind. You got an 82 game season. A lot of them games where it's going to be like I'm playing an opponent that I don't necessarily respect, or I have an injury I got to kind of plow through, or the fans are not into it. And the great teams find a way to win the lion's share of those games. So I just think, again, just based on those 3 games, the Hawks to me had more energy. They had a bit more cohesion. They were getting everybody involved, and the energy was completely different. And that's why, to me, they have the 3 wins. If they could play like that all the time, that's similar to the way they played in 2020. They had that energy. And I just think that if they could find a way to do that, this team got the players. Not these guys can't play. They can all play. They got a good team. Let's go to Todd here. He's, as always, he said, hey, I never won a Super Bowl, but Ray Charles can see Trae wife wants LA, brought huge home there, happy wife, happy life. And he says, me and Tyrone need to do a boxing match for charity. I don't know. That might end kind of quick. I don't know about that, bro.
Man,
Todd, so funny.
Todd, tell Todd to go shadow box, man. Go fight yourself.
He might do that too. He might get somebody to go.
Yeah, I think his wife does like LA. That still doesn't mean anything. A lot of the players have homes in one state and has another home in the state where they play in and different things like that. So his wife wanting to be in LA, I don't think has anything to do with it, because ultimately, if she's a great wife, she wants her husband to be happy.
Yeah, and see, and I say this. This is where, as an athlete, man, you got to be careful when and who you bring into your life, man. All right, you got to pick the right people. Like Trae said, if you got somebody, man, who understands what you do, you know what? Wherever you play, that's our home, and we're gonna make the best home. You see, a lot of us want to go out, and I call it, we want to be great and we want power. Like you said with KD. I think when he got to Golden State, Steph Curry was the man. All right. So I'm Steph like I'm the lion here. All right. So you can run with me, but I'm the lion here. All right. And some people, hey, well, I can't be the great or get power here, so I want to move on. To me, that's a selfish player. Just like you have selfish actress or whatever. I understand it. Hey, you want to go to LA. But if you're there with him and you ride with him and he paying all this stuff for you, well, you play wherever he play at. That's just how I see it.
Well, I will say, for those who are not aware, that Trae's fiance, I don't know that they're married yet, or I don't know that they've had the wedding. I know he proposed and they had their son, but they have been together since college. So she's been with him for many years, and this is not some new chick that he proposed to. She's been around for quite a while.
I should make it even easier then. Hey,
right.
You know what? Let's stay here. And once the season is over, we go travel. We go. Okay, right. We go back and forth. Well, I did it, and a lot of athletes do it.
Yeah,
they go and play at the place where they're playing at for half of the season. And see, that's a great thing about being an athlete. You get a certain amount of months to make enough money that most people won't even see in their lifetime. Yeah. Here you are. I'm about to use the B word. Being and moaning. Man, just play ball, man. Just play ball, okay? And the family, find the best school system for the kids. And you know what? Once we retire, then we can go ahead and find that one place and live the rest of our life. But man, you make all this money and you out there being and moaning. Come on, man.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, this, like you said, it's not. This is not brain surgery. I mean, yes, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Tree, you're correct. We've had all types of shakeups in management. We now have the owner's son moving into an executive position, most likely running the team. You have a guy that was a very well respected general manager that you moved from general manager to, president of player operations. Now he's some type of special assistant. Yeah. So, and they fired guys like Rod Higgins, who've been around the NBA for years, and they moved in a whole young crew. So hopefully and prayerfully, they know what they're doing, because we've seen this before. The owners have screwed up great stuff. We saw Jerry Jones. Cowboys have never been the same since he messed around and his ego wouldn't let him share the credit for the Cowboys' victory with Jerry Johnson. I mean, they haven't won a title since then. So hopefully and prayerfully that the Hawks, and like I've mentioned to you repeatedly, I've met Tony Russell. He seems like a great guy. He seems like a really good guy in the community as well, and a smart guy. I mean, it's a guy that's worth almost $2 billion, and he was a hedge fund operator, and he seems like he knows what to do. But sometimes egos get in the way and can screw up a good thing. Well, we don't want to screw up a good thing. Go ahead.
No,
Say again.
go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, so they're making all of these changes. You really think that there's all these changes taking place for no reason? Obviously, there's something going on behind the scenes that we have no clue about, because they're keeping it under wraps. And we all know when we go and do different jobs, it matters who we work for. It matters who we work with. Regardless of you making multi-millions of dollars, you still want to be happy. And in the sense of, I understand it may not be super happy every day, but if someone's stressing you out or just causing problems, unnecessary problems, we have no clue what's going on. That's all I wanted to point out. If they're making all of these changes are being made in the middle of the season for a reason.
No doubt, something's going on here. Some type of power struggle behind the scenes, and that, of course, will affect players on the court. I mean, we've seen that in all kinds of sports. If you don't have, and Tyrone talked about this on the teams that he's played on, and Tree, you've experienced it. When you don't have that solid base at the coach level, at the ownership level, that are all committed to go the same way, we're going to try to win. And it means we all put our egos on the shelf. We all kind of go in the same direction. If you got people trying, well, I got to have power here, and if I don't get a say, it doesn't go down. Yeah, all that kind of stuff behind the scenes, all it does is eventually destroy what you've done. And I'm hoping and praying that the Hawks can kind of regroup, because what they had a couple of years ago was extremely special. I mean, the whole city was alive. The team played great. And we just hope that we can see that again here in Atlanta. Well, guys, you want to see more sports talk? You got to keep it locked right here for more of the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I'm here with the Queen and the champion. The Queen, Ms. Trae Dolman, and the champion, Tyrone Poole. I guys, I'm going to switch and talk a little bit of football here now. The playoffs were huge over the weekend, a big wild card playoff weekend. So I want to get your guys' thoughts about the teams that won, the teams that lost, and kind of what we will see next. So we're going to go to the woman. We're going to go to the Queen. Ms. Trae Dolman, your thoughts about the playoffs. First of all, talk a little bit about your guys in purple who shockingly lost to the New York Giants.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker for me. I know a lot of people picked the Giants to win, and then there were a lot of people that picked the Vikings to win, and it just really surprised me, especially having home field advantage. I thought we would definitely play better, so that broke my heart completely. I really thought that the Vikings would go a lot further, and actually thought that they had a chance to vie for a national championship, which did not happen. So Skull Vikings, phenomenal season, but that just goes to show again that the record doesn't matter. I don't care how many games you win during the season. What matters is what you do in playoffs. And then for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or do you want me to stop there?
Oh no, you can talk about the Buccaneers. Yep, and then we'll switch to Tyrone Poole.
Okay, and then with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I know a lot of people were picking the Dallas Cowboys to win, and then there were a lot of people picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win. I really thought that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to win. Exactly the same situation as far as them having home field advantage. And I know that Tom Brady is just the best, and then he plays differently in playoffs, but the game just really was not a good game. And it's not even just that they lost, but it's the way that they lost. So a lot of shocking football for me. I don't know what it was going on this year, but a lot of really phenomenal quarterbacks are not even playing anymore. Who would have ever thought this at the beginning of the season before week 1 of football play, that Russell Wilson and all these great quarterbacks would not even be playing?
That's really was definitely a shocker. Yeah, the Giants just did what they had to do. They played a great game. Daniel Jones played the way everybody expected him to play when the Giants drafted him number 6 overall a few years ago. So everybody's talking about Coach Brian Daboll being a quarterback whisperer, whatever it was. He had one of his best games ever, threw for 300 yards and also rushed for 75 yards as the Giants hold off the Vikings 31-24. And Tom Brady, well, I'll let Tyrone speak to that a little bit. There are times that he didn't seem like Tom Brady. I mean, once the game got out of hand, and they were starting to make that comeback, he looked more like himself. But for a lot of the game, and some of it was just the pressure. I mean, he was under constant pressure the whole game by the Dallas Cowboys. So kudos to him. Tyrone, and what games kind of caught you where you said either you were shocked at the performance from the team or you were like, hey, I knew they were going to do that?
No, I think I picked them all correctly. You guys didn't want to pick, but I think I picked all mine correctly. The Cowboys, I figured the Cowboys would beat the Buccaneers. You guys are sleeping on the Cowboys defense, man. Again, I know you guys don't like Dan Quinn, but man, Dan Quinn's a good dude. Okay, he's gonna probably end up getting another head coaching job. So whenever you have somebody that can cover, and you got a linebacker and a D line that can put heat, and you're able to run the ball, that's what the playoffs are all about. The beginning of the play, you got to run the ball and play solid defense. That's how you win in the wild card, divisional. Then you get to the championship game. You got to pound it out. Because most of the time the weather is going to be bad. All right. So, and those teams that won, the Giants, you look at the rushing yards, they outrushed the Vikings. Outrushed them for his yards. Looking at the stats, the Giants had 142 yards overall. The Vikings only 61. Okay, so you got to run the ball, man. You got to run the ball. All right, it balances up the offense. Play action starts to come into play. And you guys sleeping on Daboll. I was there in New England. He's just another Bill Belichick protege, and he's actually doing something that Josh McDaniel is trying to do. But Daboll, he's doing it. Okay, he was a wide receiver coach there when I was in New England, so the guy understands how to get his guys prepared. All right, and then he stayed on and I think they advanced him up in the New England system. So and then he went on and took on some other details, and they say actually Belichick helped him get that job in New York. So at the end of the day, Belichick saw that the guy's a great coach. So those are the intangibles that people overlook is the coaching, man. How can you get your players ready to play, and how can you put your players in the best position to win? It ain't about what we did in the regular season. It's about what do we need to do to beat this team right now, because every game is a chess match. Okay, it's almost like a coloring book. You got to color on this page this week. Next week, you can't be colored on the same page. You got to take that page off, whether you finish it or not, and you're on a new page, man. All right. And then when you look at the Cowboys, again, like I said, the Cowboys, they did a phenomenal job. I tell you a game that really, I said, man, They had an opportunity. It was those Dolphins, man, the Dolphins, and that's why I think the Bengals are going to go up and they're going to actually beat the Bills. All right, because Joe Cool, I guess they just feel like they own the Bills, man. And when you have a team like that, a team mentality like that, it don't matter where you play at. So the Bills better hope that it snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, because I think the Bengals can walk out of there, man, with a victory.
Yeah, Joe Cool is he's in fact Joe Cool guy seems to operate very very well under pressure. But yeah, they could have got. You know, Baltimore was really moving towards a go ahead score, and as you know, turnovers can turn the game. And who would have thought that after them marching the ball down the field, that they would in fact turn the ball over, not only turn it over, but have a fumble recovery for 98 yards in the ball game. So yeah, no doubt. Looking at the Bengals, they look good. The Bills look like they can possibly be happy because Miami almost got them. And to your point about your man, Mr. Brian Daboll, the other thing a lot of people forget is that he was given an award a couple of years ago as being one of the top assistants when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. And he was with that high-powered offense as well. So this guy's no amateur. He knows what to do. And he finally got Daniel Jones, like I said, looking like a guy that is worthy to be a number 6 pick overall. And, of course, the other thing, too, is the running game. They had Saquon Barkley back. You know, so that's a huge difference when you got a healthy Saquon Barkley. But, you know, when you look at the Vikings stats, I mean, the numbers were there. I mean, Kirk Cousins didn't turn the ball over, 31 of 39, 273, 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions. I mean, Darvin Cook, when he did get the ball, he ran it well, 15 carries for 60 yards. But the big thing was that the Giants defense found a way to shut down a guy who a lot of people felt had been really one of the best wide receivers in the league, and Justin Jefferson held him to 47 yards in receiving. And that kind of seemed like it was the key. I mean, because that guy had been explosive all year long, and to hold him to just 47 yards, but hey, you know, kudos to the Giants. They're going to move on. What do you guys think in terms of their possibilities of winning against the number 1 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles? I'll stay with you, Tyrone. What do you think? The Giants, can they pull this one out?
You mentioned two names that DeBall played for, who I think are two of the best coaches right now. Andy Reid,
yep,
Bill Belichick. So you get an opportunity to learn from them two guys right there. All right. You're going to learn a whole lot from Andy Reid about how to get a quarterback ready. You're going to learn a whole lot from Belichick on how to come up with all kinds of schemes to throw your opponent off. So I think going into Philadelphia, I think Philadelphia better be ready to play. They better be ready to play. And if Barkley, if he can run the ball again, I believe you run the ball in the playoffs, and you got to be balanced in the Super Bowl. All right. So if they continue to run the ball, then that takes pressure off of Jones and gives you defense opportunity to rest. So I think Jalen Hurts, you know, will he be ready for, you know, the big stage? You know, will he try to get out there and do too much? Or will he just throw the ball where the defense tells him to throw the ball? Or will he try to get out there and try to do too much? So, you know, will their moment be bigger than Jalen Hurts? So, you know, we'll see. But I do believe the Giants will be ready.
Trae, what do you think? Giants have a chance against the Eagles. They knocked off your boys. They were certainly not the favorite. What do you think?
I definitely think they have a chance. And I say that just because Jalen, he's not 100%. And when it comes to the playoffs, this is just a different level of football. And when you have a quarterback that's not 100% and you have a team that's gelling well and they're playing great, that's kind of tough. And then they had a bye week. So I don't know. I'm picking the Giants on this one.
Woo! Giant fans. They said the Giants might.
I'm not a fan.
No, I'm saying the Giant fans, y'all should be excited. We got two.
Hey, I'm not a Giant fan.
Your boy's about to take care of some business. Look, it's real simple. It's like Tyrone said. If they can run the ball, they can stay in this game. And especially if you have a quarterback that's able to get you 50 or 60 yards on the ground. Because what that's really meaning is that you're not able to stop them on third down. And he's picking up maybe those crucial times where you press him out of the pocket, and he does just enough to pick up that yard to keep the chain moving. And in playoff football, keeping the chains moving is very, very important. Well, speaking of keeping the chains moving, we got to keep it moving for just a second here. We let our sponsors do their thing one more time. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
We're back here, guys, for our final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons. I'm the host, excuse me for not articulating. I'm the host, Minister Jonathan Simmons. Right next to me is the Queen, Ms. Trae Dolman, and right below us is the champion, Mr. Tyrone Poole. So how about in the AFC? I know, Tyrone, you mentioned you think that Cincinnati is going to handle their business properly. Outside of those two guys, do you think that Kansas City can take either or of those two teams?
Well, I'm gonna go back and pop back into the NFC. Got them 49ers, man. I'm like,
oh yeah, I forgot about those guys.
I think the 49ers, man, they are my team to get to the Super Bowl. I just think Kyle Shanahan, man, between Debo and you got McCaffrey, and then you got a tight end. Just that alone, right there, and all you need is a wide out who can at least threaten the safety, to keep that safety in the middle of the field. And if you got two running backs that you can just get one-on-one coverage, if you want to, as a defensive coordinator, I think it's a nightmare because if you say I'm gonna go with my base defense, then now if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm gonna take and split Debo out. I'm gonna take and motion McCaffrey out the backfield, put your linebackers one-on-one. All right. Well, if you say you want to go with the dime, you want to go with your nickel. Most of them go with the nickel. Okay. Well, now you're bringing a small guy. But guess what? We're going to pound you now. So I just think, Kyle, man, he just got too much on offense, and Bosa, I'm like, they got a pretty stout defense. So that's my team to get to the Super Bowl. I actually think it's going to be a rematch of Kansas City and the 49ers, where the 49ers could have beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 49ers look stout. I mean, if you look at the game they had against the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle was in the game for a minute. But, yeah, the big difference is you have a attack where you can pound the ball. Christian McCaffrey, 26 carries, 108 yards. Jordan Mason chipped in with 4 carries, 64 yards. And George Kittle, you talked about the tight end, 4 receptions, 93 yards. That's an average of 23 yards of reception at the tight end position and 2 touchdowns. Then you talk about a wide receiver.
The 4 catches, though. That's what I'm saying about here. 4 catches. So that tells me he had those big holes in that defense. And when he caught the ball, he had nothing but air to run. So how do you defend that? It's a nightmare. So I wish the Cowboys well, but 49ers, they're my team.
Yeah, they definitely are strong. And you got think about this. They're doing that with a guy who is basically, they call him Mr. Relevant, Brock Purdy, 17 of 26, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, and not a single interception for a guy that basically was the very last guy drafted in the NFL draft. So, yeah, 49ers, they played well all season. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was their 9th or 10th consecutive win overall. So they're definitely going to be a tough out. So we're going to see what they can do going forward. Yeah, I like Kansas City Chiefs. They also outstanding team. You got a guy that is playing quarterback almost at a different level in Patrick Mahomes. This guy can throw the ball from almost any angle, and he's got a receiver / tight end in Kelsey that is just, the guy just seems to know where every hole in the defense is. It's like, it's incredible. And he talked about, I was listening to him on an interview, and he talked about that synergy that him and Patrick have. He said, look, I just kind of know if I get into a spot that somehow Patrick will get me the ball. And, he's put up some ginormous numbers. So it would be interesting to see a rematch, but both teams have to get through 2 more games before we see that. Well, one team that's going to be not worried about any Super Bowl or worried about any playoffs is our hometown Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, man, come on. Let's talk about the playoffs, man. Can we stay with the playoffs?
Did you did you really just say that?
Our hometown Falcons are still kind of struggling. We'll get to them at some point. We are continuing to talk to playoffs, but let's all remember that.
Are we?
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the Falcons before you go. Not much, but just a little bit on what they might need to do to rebuild that team. But yeah, man, it's certainly we look at the playoffs. We got some dominant teams. Great teams are playing. We got great talents, and I think it should be a very, very interesting showdown. Now, you guys keep in mind this. We talked earlier about the Cincinnati Bengals and the Bills. Keep in mind that the AFC Championship game. I think if either one of those teams get in the game against Kansas City, that game actually will be held here in Atlanta. The NFL felt that was the only way they could do it. They wanted to have something neutral because they said that both of those teams, based on who would have won that game, either one of them might have had the number one seed. So, yeah, no matter what happens, if AC gets into it against one of those two guys, the game looks like it's going to be here in the ATL.
I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, Cincinnati going to go up and beat Buffalo. And it's going to be the Bengals, a rematch of last year's playoff game, the Chiefs and the Bengals.
Well, I mean, Joe Cool is nice, but I will say this: if Josh Allen finds a way not to turn the ball over, Buffalo Bills, man, they got a squad, bro. Yeah. If he don't turn the ball over, then I think they can do what they need to do. But I don't know what's happened these last 5 or 6 games, but he's just like he took his thinking cap off, throwing balls into coverage, throwing balls wildly, throwing when he doesn't have to throw. So if he can get that under control, yeah, man, the Bills are going to be a tough out.
I just like the Bengals because they balanced on offense. They got Joe Mixon, they can run the ball, and then they got a wide receiver that you got to know where he is at all times. So like you said about Jefferson, you know what? They ball again, playing with Belichick. The one thing I do remember with Belichick, he says, no matter who their number one receiver was, that guy is not going to beat us. Anybody else, good luck to him. But Jefferson will not beat us. And I'm pretty sure that what Dayball told his defensive back, the secondary, the defensive coach, Jefferson is not going to beat us. So that's why you got to have a compliment. You got to have a compliment. All right. It's almost like when you had Alvin Harper and you had Michael Irvin. You know, you always got to have that Batman and Robin. You had Jerry Rice and you had, what's my guy, 82. But anyway, he had a compliment.
John Taylor
had a compliment. All right. So my thing is, I think Cincinnati got a compliment. They can throw it to any one of their guys. And then they got Joe Mixon. They can run the ball. So I think they will do a great job. I only think can stop the Bengals from winning, man, if that snow falls so hard. But Cincinnati used to the cold. It's cold up in Cincinnati too. So you can't say like Miami, you know, they trying to throw that weather thing on Miami. What the coach say? Hey, it's a mental thing. And they almost beat the Bills. So, you know, is that cold really a home field advantage? No, I don't think it is if the weather is good. And if it's snow on the ground, you know, the Dolphins, going back to that game, they could not practice in the snow. But the field was good. The weather was good. So it makes it's an even game. So, again, I like Cincinnati. I just think they balance, man. But they do enough on defense to cause problems.
Yeah, like I said, definitely should be interesting. I think everybody wants to see that. Again, they want to see this showdown between these two teams who have played really very evenly as they have butted heads a couple of different times. And really the big thing for Cincinnati, they have to stop Josh Allen. Look at his stats against Miami, 25 of 40, and he did exactly what he needs to do to win, even though they squeaked out. 25 of 40, 304 yards, 4 touchdown passes. But big thing is no interception. Had a couple of close ones, but no real interception. And the other thing, too, is very much like we saw from the Giants. 10 carries for 77 yards, and the same thing with him. He has a way of getting those big runs to move the chains. So if he can continue to do that and play like that against Cincinnati, I think that Buffalo is going to be able to handle their business. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What on earth happened with the Chargers? I mean, people are calling them the Falcons of the West Coast, up 27-0. 27-0. Trae, how can you lose a 27-0 lead? I don't get it.
Hey, the Falcons did it.
Wow, she went right back there. Doggone it. She went right there. She don't care about Falcons fans watching. She went right there. She don't care if we're on Falcons fans pages. They let us rebroadcast the show. She don't care. She said right to 28-3. Lord have mercy. Wow.
I think
Well, it happens when you don't handle your business, and when you look at the scoreboard and you actually get excited thinking that, okay, we've done what we need to do and now we're just coasting out. And that's never a way to play any sport. You always have to play and put it down. I know you hear about some teams complaining, oh, they shouldn't have beat them that much, or this and that and this and that. No, I don't care if I beat you 100-0. Guess what? I'm not letting up until the game is over. And when you let up, or you think that you're coasting through and you get excited because you have a lead and you're looking at the scoreboard too much, that's when teams come back, because it's never over until the clock is at 0.
And then I piggyback on what Trae said. It's called making adjustments. You go in at halftime. What is it? 27-7. You go in at halftime. You make adjustments. Okay, and you come back out, and now you score what? The Jaguars scored 24, really 21 unanswered points. So it's called making adjustments at halftime. That's what it's called. That's how you come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a bad look. I mean, just I don't care what kind of adjustments, who went or where. That it's just like the Falcons, they lost. It's just really inexcusable. I mean, you're up 27-0, and the big key was allowing that touchdown right at the end of the half, because that gave them the hope that, hey man, we're still in this thing, because now instead of being down 4 scores, you're only down 3 scores, and you got the whole half in front of you. And really, in the second half, the Chargers did nothing at all. Zippo. 3 points in the third quarter, and that's it. And they allowed 24. They outscored 24-3 in the second half, and the Jaguars pulled it off. And they pulled it off by using some guys that some people question. They got Evan Ingram, the tight end from the Giants. A lot of people thought that this guy was kind of, I won't say washed up, but couldn't put up the numbers. But he had a big game. 7 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. And it was the old Clemson duo. Trevor Lawrence, after throwing 4 interceptions, the guy threw 4 interceptions, came back and threw 4 touchdown passes, threw for 288 yards. And his running mate from Clemson, Travis Etienne Jr., now fully healthy, 20 carries, 108 yards, 5.5 yards a carry. And that was it. And I just don't understand why the why the Chargers, who have an outstanding running back themselves in Austin Eckler only had touched the ball 13 times. I'm like, man, the second half, he should have easily had 13 touches in the second half alone. Run the ball. You're up by 20 points. No.
What made me? You mentioned Trevor Lawrence. Okay, he did something that really, in my mind, is going to help him become an elite quarterback. All right, because let's be honest. The mindset is what makes greatness. Okay, you can have all the athletic ability in the world, but it's your mindset. Your mindset of dominance, or your mindset that I can make anything happen. And for him to throw 4 interceptions and still stay mentally in the game to where, hey, I can still make this happen. Oh man, I can't wait to see that dude get about 2 more years up under his belt, man, in a winning system, and stay with the same system. And I believe Doug Peterson, is going to be around in Jacksonville for at least 2 to 3 more years by them winning the playoffs. So now Trevor Lawrence gets opportunity to stay in a system that he can now understand like the back of his hand where everybody's supposed to be at, without having to worry about another offensive coordinator.
Well, you said it. It goes right back to what both of you guys talked about before. Coaching. Doug Peterson, a guy that coached well enough to knock off the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, a guy that was able to take basically a third-string quarterback and make him into a Super Bowl MVP, and Nick Foles. They talked about that, and they mentioned the fact that after he threw the 4th interception, he said that Coach Peterson pulled him aside and said, kid, listen, you can do this. Relax, slow down, stop pressing. We got this. And he said the fact that the coach told him that, didn't say, hey, I'm going to pull you, we're going to go in another direction. He said that was huge for him. And, of course, again, once they start scoring, you know how momentum works. Momentum's a bad thing. Once you start going either direction, that's it. So kudos to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I think that the run will be over. I think Kansas City's going to put the beat down on them this week. I think they got no shot. 0.
Kudos to them, but you're about to get the beat down.
Right. No shot.
You tell the reason why Doug Peterson can actually come over to Trevor Lawrence and say that, because Doug used to quarterback himself. He's been in a situation where he on some interceptions. Okay. And that's the great thing when you have someone who understands your position. Just like with Mahomes, he got Andy Reid. Andy Reid understands the quarterback position. All right. He had Donovan McNabb. So he understands how to coach that caliber of player. Doug Peterson, he knows how to coach that caliber type of quarterback like Trevor Lawrence. So again, it's in the mind, man. It's in the mind. Dominance comes from the mind. It comes from consistently doing something repeatedly. Even if you throw 4 interceptions, I'm going to will myself to come back and throw 4 touchdowns. It's a mindset, man. So, hey, I love it, man. I can't wait to see what Trevor Lawrence is able to do years to come.
Yep, it's definitely going to be very interesting. It's like you said, we've seen a change in the guard. We see him. We see some of the other guys, and you talk about Doug Peterson, doing what he needed to do. I mean, initially, think about this. He was a guy that, and he hasn't been the same since, even though he kind of started to go into decline under Peterson. But think about Carson Wentz, the numbers he put up under Peterson originally. And it's like, so we know that Doug Peterson knows how to coach. We know that he knows how to coach quarterbacks. All right, guys, we're going to come back. And yes, we are going to finally talk about the hometown team. So you guys, you Falcon fans, hang on. We'll be back in just a moment to talk about the Atlanta Falcons, even though Tyrone don't want to. We are back here, the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, and with me here is the Queen, Ms. Trae Dolman, and the champion, Mr. Tyrone Poole. Before we go any further, we want to give a big shout out to a young lady that will be joining us doing more in terms of supporting this program. We want to give her a big shout out, Miss Denise Holmes, attorney at law. If you guys have any kind of problem where you are in a situation, you've been injured on the job, you've had a car accident, you need some help, please contact attorney Denise Holmes. And it's very, very easy. Go to our website, attorneydeniseholmes.com. That's right, attorneydeniseholmes.com. Contact her. She will do a phenomenal job. She is one of the best injury lawyers in Atlanta. She's been doing it for over 20 years and has won millions of dollars for her clients. Very easy to work with. She will help you out. So again, go to our website, attorneydeniseholmes.com. And she also is a Falcons season ticket holder. So that's why we want to shout out those Atlanta Falcons. All right. So guys, we saw the Falcons kind of end with a whimper rather than a bang. They were the reverse of the record I thought they would be. I said 10-7. They ended up 7-10. Looking at this team, what do you think they need to get to the level that we're seeing these other playoff teams playing right now? What do you think would be the number one thing that they should grab, either in the draft or through free agency? Tyrone, what do you think?
I'll let Trae go first.
All right, Trae, you go first.
I wanted you to go first.
No, he's excited. He's so excited about this. Well, go ahead.
But I will definitely say you have to build a team around your quarterback. So I think that they need to find a quarterback that can be the quarterback of Atlanta, the quarterback of the Falcons, and then they need to protect the quarterback. So that would be my first thought.
So you're saying that first of all, I need to determine whether Desmond Ridder is the guy. If not, they need to get another guy.
You said that. I said, you asked me if they were drafting, who do they need to draft? I said a quarterback. That means that he's not the guy.
He's not the guy.
You want them to determine if he's the guy.
Something I want to point out, okay, since Jonathan brought it up, that these other teams that are still currently playing in the playoffs, so to speak, look at all those quarterbacks that are playing. You show me one quarterback that they're running RPOs and running all around the field and all that. Show me one team that has a quarterback like that.
Okay. So I guess if I'm understanding that,
So when you
Go
say
ahead.
try to go out and get, I think you have mentioned, should they go after Lamar Jackson? No. Again, do you want to win championship? Now that's against Lamar Jackson. But again, if you just borrow your words out of your mouth compared to the teams that are playing right now, and Trae brought the quarterback position. Show me one team that has a quarterback where they just running left and right, or do you see teams where they have the ability to do it, but they want their quarterback to stay in the pocket and throw the ball? Show me one team.
I will not show you one team because none of them exist at this point.
There you go.
Even though Patrick Mahomes runs, he does not run randomly. He doesn't do too many RPOs. Everything pretty much is when he's running to try to make a play.
He's a pocket quarterback. He's like
Exactly.
Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb had the ability to run, but Donovan McNabb ran when he needed to run. Again, being coached by the same guy, Andy Reid. Run to stay open, to throw the ball down the field. And that's one thing that Ben Roethlisberger did pretty well. Ben didn't try to run the ball. Ben scrambling because he know at some point the defense gonna break down. We can't cover them guys for only so long. And somebody gonna pop open. So again, the point is you win championships with a pocket quarterback, man. But with this day and age of football, you got to have mobility. Okay? But you got to sit from the pocket and throw that ball, man.
Yeah,
I do want to say that Ritter is a good quarterback. So I don't want you to think that I don't think he's phenomenal. I really loved what I saw from him. And I think that he definitely has a future here with the Falcons.
Yeah, give Ritter confidence. Give him opportunity, man. Give him an opportunity. Now I know if we don't get nobody this year, I don't know the quarterbacks that are coming out in this year's draft. But I think you roll your sleeves up and you say, Ritter, we're going with you. Okay? Falcon fans, I'm pretty sure they're Falcon fans. They understand. Okay, we drafted the guy to hopefully show that he can lead this team. We need somebody. I understand we're going to get Marcus Mariota to try to, let everybody gel, but we're in a rebuilding stage. So let's get Ritter. Why not give him an opportunity, man? Hand him the keys right now. I think you normally get 2 keys to a car, right? Well, give him at least one of the keys, man. Give him one of the keys, all right? Don't y'all get 2 keys, Jonathan? 2 keys?
Yeah. 2 keys, every car, 2 keys.
Give one of the keys. Say, here, man, we're going to hold on to the other key just in case. But here you go right here. You drive it. But you got to give it to him, man. You got to let the man show you what he can do. From the offseason, let him take control. Show him he's in control. Preseason comes, treat him like he's your starting quarterback. Don't treat the man like, okay, looking over your shoulder. You ain't going to get the best out of him because he's going to be worried. If they want to see what Ritter has to offer, they have to ensure him that he don't have to worry about nobody peeking off his shoulder. That's when you're going to find out what type of guy this is. But as long as we're going to draft this guy, or the ownership saying, well, we're not stable as we want at all positions. Well, they can say other positions, but at quarterback, we believe we got our guy.
Well, you know how Coach Smith is. That's been his motto since he's been here. He's always like to try to make it like, hey, all options are still open. I mean, personally, you don't have to sell me on it. I like Ritter. I mean, I think the guy is, from the opening bell, the way he went about his business, I think he's very confident. And like I said, I go back to his college career. I mean, did he play a full season against top quality candidates? Not necessarily, but in the big games, he didn't. I mean, the guy showed that, hey, I'm not afraid. Teams couldn't win because they didn't have all the pieces in place to be a top Alabama team or to be the top Georgia team. But at the end of the day, he did not panic. And big thing is he didn't turn the ball over. The other thing I like about him is he's already established some chemistry with another guy they picked up as a first-round draft pick, and that is Drake London. He seems that him and London seem to have that kind of synergy that you want from your number one receiver and your QB1. And I want to see, will he have that similar type of synergy with Kyle Pitts? Because if he does, I think the Falcons have what they need. Then they can kind of take that money and use towards getting him maybe another offensive lineman that's close to the skill set of Chris Lindstrom, who's now developing to an all-pro lineman. Also getting some defensive help where the Falcons, can consistently put some pressure on the quarterback and consistently, D up against some other teams. Let's go to social media here. We go to J.D. Stacy. He says, I think Ritter played well. He will do well in the NFL, but he's got a big butt. All right, JD, where's the rest of the typing? He said,
but okay.
it's coming.
But,
It's coming. He's typing it.
yeah, and I also think the Falcons, what they should do, man, nothing against Arthur Smith, but, he did run that offense in Tennessee, and they pride themselves in running the ball, okay? One thing I do know, if you're going to win playoff games, you want to win the Super Bowl, you got to have a balanced attack. Because when a team comes to take away your run game, you can't have it to where now you're trying to tell your quarterback, oh, we need to put it on your shoulders to win. You're not used to that. So you got all of the good teams. Again, look at the teams that are playing, man. They got that quarterback who, if he needs to put on his shoulder, he can. I think you mentioned with the Chargers, they had the running back that you were like, how come they didn't get a ball to him enough? So I just think you can't be one-dimensional. Yes, you want to run the ball, but you got to have that balance. When they take away this, you should be able to make changes. We're going to go to this, and it still flows. It shouldn't be awkward. To take away the run game, that's how you start the Falcons. Force Ritter to throw the ball. He's not going to do good. Yeah, he's not going to do good because you don't give him opportunity to sit there and just take over a game, okay? So, again, I think the Falcons should, haven't really seen too much of that, but I think if they can have a balanced attack, man, at least 30 passes a game, and they can have, 20, 25 rushes a game. It's only about 65, 70 snaps, offense and defense average. So that's only 55 plays right there. Then the rest you can mix it up, but you at least got to let Ritter throw the ball 30 times, as close to 30 times a game as possible, man. You can't have him with 18, 20, 21 throws. You got to be in that 30 range, man. And then you give it to your running back, And if you can have more than one running back, I think it makes your offense even more vulnerable. Well, not vulnerable, but versatile. So, again, I would like to see them throw the ball just as much as they run the ball.
Well, JD was saying that he said, but if Lamar Jackson is coming, bye-bye.
Lamar Jackson, that's funny.
I mean, listen, I've told people this for years. Still to this day, we're now almost 15 years removed from Michael Vick. This city still has a Michael Vick hangover. I don't care what you tell me. That was the thing about Matt Ryan. That's the thing why everybody's clamoring for Lamar Jackson. They missed the excitement because Atlanta, here's the thing that's funny about this city. This city says they want to win championships, but this city really wants to be entertained over that. That's the problem here with Atlanta. Atlanta wants to be entertained. They want to come to the ball game. Yeah, they want to win, but they want excitement. They want to be able to get wild and woo. That's why, listen, no disrespect, and I think Trae is an all-star, and I think that if he just can, kind of listen to Nate, because going back to what Tyrone said, he himself said out of his own mouth. He said, why did he like Nate when he first met him and took over as coach? He said, because the guy has played the game. He played my position. He helped Trae get better. So if those two guys can mesh it out, we got something. But going back to the point, it's like, people want excitement. So when Trae came, did what he did, with John dunking over Joel Embiid and having the audacity to put it on a T-shirt the next day, that's all Atlanta. That's the ATL, baby. It's like, oh, yeah, boy. Now, it didn't matter that they necessarily didn't win the title. They were just excited that they were able to be entertained. It's the same reason why this city had the audacity to have almost a parade before the Falcons won the Super Bowl. They had 14,000 people at Atlantic Station wishing the bus goodbye. The players like, we never seen anything like this. I said to myself, wait, did they play Super Bowl? I didn't know. What happened? But that's how this city is.
Yeah, they'd have gone crazy if they'd have won a Super Bowl, boy. They were making jokes. They said, boy, if the Falcons had won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, man, everybody was calling in the next day.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. They had already petitioned the governor to say we got to have the day off. Nobody working in Atlanta, no kind of way. Let's go back to JD. He said, yep, you surely right. Yeah, this town is all about entertainment. And this town's got to make up their mind. Do they want to be entertained or do they want to be a championship city? That's what he's going to get to.
First things first, they need to make up their mind if they want to be loyal. That'll help bring some championships to the city. A lot of fans here don't realize when you hear the sixth man in basketball, it really does make a difference. When you have fans in the crowd and cheering and booing for you and the other team, it makes a big difference. And the same with football. So you want a championship. First of all, support your team. That will help bring a championship to the city.
Well, I blame my man, Mr. Arthur Blank, for some of that problem. There's something called PSLs. He ran a lot of real fans out that stadium. I'm just saying, a lot of people that were actually real, like you said, fans, they can't go. They can't afford to go. I talked to several people. I said, dude, I can't spend $1,500 on a license and then spend another $100 a game on a ticket. I can't.
Yeah, no, that's true. When they built the new Mercedes-Benz Arena, and because we know that the dome was full, the dome would sell out all the time. The dome was magnetic. So when they said defend the dome, that's exactly what the Falcons did. It did not matter how they played on the road, but they usually would win at home in the dome. So I do agree that is part of the issue. That's part of the issue, but that's not the whole issue.
Now, I'm going to tell both of you guys something right now before we wrap this up, because we're here. The minister ain't played not 1 minute of high school, college, or pro football. But I got to tell you something. When I went to that next to last game with the Georgia Dome, when they played Seattle, and them cheerleaders came out, and I was down there on the field, and they had that flame went up. Tyrone, they had to hold the preacher. They had to hold me. Hair was standing on the back of my neck. I was on my toes. The people look at me, sir, you all right? What you trying to do? But it was that energy, that energy that the dome had that just made it something special.
I tell you one thing, man, and I know we wrapping it up. I say this very quickly. You know, there's one moment before.
Tyrone, come on with the one moment, baby. Come on.
Well, while he's paused, I'll say something quick. Oh, he's
go
back.
Ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Tyrone.
Go ahead, Tyrone. That one moment, brother. Come on.
The one moment that makes the hair stand up on my skin. Okay, you can only understand this if you've gone to an open air stadium. Okay, it's after the national anthem, and you know they get to the end, and then them jets fly over.
Yes, sir.
Flyover. Nothing like those jets.
Yes, sir. The flyover. Yes, sir.
Nothing like it.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I want to say a fun fact for all of you who do not know, because I never tell people. When I first moved to Atlanta, I actually tried out to be an Atlanta Falcons cheerleader.
What?
I did.
Well, I'm not surprised, Queen. You got the look and the athleticism there. I'm sure you could have done it.
Well, like I said, I did try out. I didn't make it. Well, we all know, which they told me before I tried out that I wouldn't make it because of my height, but I did it anyway. But it was a fun experience. But yes, all the cheerleaders are much shorter than I am. But I was a dance member at college, and I love dance. And so, yeah, I did it because I follow my dreams. For all of you young people at home, follow your dreams. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. You do it, and then you know.
I think what happened, Trae, you said, give me an H, give me an A, give me a W. You started spelling hoes. You said, what that spell? Hoes. They said, no, you here with the Falcons. With that,
no. I used to win spelling bees, so it definitely wasn't the spelling. No, it was the hype.
No, but definitely, like you say again, it was that's what we missed. All right, well, one thing we don't want to miss, guys, anytime we have this show with our guests, our co-hosts, even myself, we want you to know how you can find out more about them. So, you know how we do it. Mr. Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
Tyrone Poole, 30.
He was right in the middle. There he is.
You guys have a great rest of your night, and wherever you are, peace, love, and joy. Blessings.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Chris Trae Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on social media at Purple Diva 13, as well as Ms. America International 2022. Have a great evening. Thank you for watching.
All right, guys. It's me, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. We want to encourage you, first of all, to follow the show. Follow the show at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. You can follow me personally at Minister J. Simmons. That's Minister, the letter J, S-I-M-M. You also, listen, if you got a great sports story or if you want to support the show, hit me up with an email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net. That's JSIMMONS at realtalksports.net, or simply call me on the cell, 678-410-9833. And like I said, we got some great advertising packages. And also, in case you got a great sports story, come on, man. We'd like to have you on the air with us. All right, guys, before I wrap it up, like I said, I'm a real life minister, so I'm going to ask you, please, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, please, man, please, sir, get to know him today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. He's the one that died for you, and he rose from the dead. And because of that, you, if you believe that, can have two great things happen to you. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That means you now can go to God like you're a loving parent, asking for anything that you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll grant it unto you. And if and when you die, you go to that lovely place called heaven, and you avoid that nasty place called hell. I don't know about you, but I like the option of heaven versus going to hell. All right, guys, until next time when we see you again, we say God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long.